All right, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special guest. We have Vern from the channel Fixing My Faith. How you doing, Vern?
Doing great. Thank you, everyone, for being on. And I noticed there's a few people on there that I even know. So this is
Yeah,
this is just great.
awesome.
Thank you for having us on.
Of course, thanks for joining us. So you have the channel Fixing My Faith. What do you cover on your channel, Vern?
Oh, we started with the channel about 21, 22 months ago. And my first 8 videos, I just wanted to get 8 videos on and just kind of give the governing body crap and then be done with it, right? And then I thought, well, I started to wake up and share a little bit of that, and then the audience grew a bit, and then we started making satires, and that was kind of fun. We were inspired by guys like you. So
Yeah.
as brutal of a job that I do on there on my videos, we were having fun, and we grew the channel, and then realized that, hey, there's a community here. And you know what? When I came out, there wasn't really much of a community, and now there is. Let's grow the community. And now we have Joe and Fran. They come on Wednesdays, and they have a show on Tuesdays, and we do a show. These are all lives. We do one on Monday and one on Friday, and we just advertised a new one today called Face to Face, and it's a Thursday show, and we're just offering our platform over to anybody that wants to get up and get it out. If they're angry, get it out. And this is all targeted at the governing body. And then we want the JWs, the ones that come on our channel and really leave some nasty remarks. We want to invite them on, and they can take on the Watchtower side. We have the XJW side, and we'll have a time debate. Let's talk about this. There's no secrets in this Bible. We're all woken, except the JW. But let's get her on the table without nasty words, face to face. And that's our Thursday show. We scheduled that for May 9th. That'll be a first launch on that one. And I really want to offer the platform to a lot of people out there that just want to get on, and maybe they don't want to show their face. They don't have to, but just to say their piece. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing here for the next bit.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super important to give people a platform so they can express their thoughts and their concerns. And it's awesome. I hope you get a lot of believing JWs to also join, because I've been trying to get a believing Jehovah's Witness to be a guest in the channel, and I might have one now. But we'll have to see about that. But that would be a really cool conversation, because that's how we
To
learn
get
by
a real JW
a
online.
real JW online. I think I can get one. We'll
Well,
see.
I think it's important for us maybe on this that we woke up, right? So we have to throw a lifeline down to the JWs, the ones that want to grab it. I think that's great. Great job. And we all work together at this, right?
Yeah, for
We're
sure. We
inspiring
have
each other.
We are, yeah. Today we have in the chat. Thank you, Apostate Ministry School. This guy is so cool. He's always joining here. XJWMJ, welcome as well, and to all the other activists. Today we're gonna be 1 hour with Vern, and he's gonna tell us his story, his JW story, his waking up story. So I'm super excited to hear it, Vern. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. How did it all start? How did you get roped into the JW religion?
I was raised in the world, of course, up until 18. We were just, the family is more of a, maybe we went to Sunday school when we were little, maybe 5 times a year. So we were kind of one of those Christians that maybe go to Christmas time and New Year, or not New Year's, but Easter, those kind of Christians. So we didn't go to a lot of church when we were little. My dad didn't like church. He kind of hated it. He thought it was garbage. They were just there to suck money out of people. He kind of seen through it. So I was 18. I watched my dad kick the JWs out. And then lo and behold, I was driving around with a buddy of mine, and he had his girlfriend in the back seat, and there was this other girl in the back seat, and we'd be driving along, and she'd duck every once in a while. Well, here I found out she was a JW, and I ended up really liking her. And her dad was not a witness, but her mom was. So her mom allowed her dad to make the decision, and I got to go out with her.
Oh wow, okay.
So that's how that all started. I went to meetings, went to assembly within a week, went to a circuit assembly within a week. And I
Hmm.
was probably one of those really golden Bible studies, that they'd brag about.
Yeah. So you were 18 when this happened?
Yes, I was 18.
Okay, so very young. I mean, this story repeats itself a lot, right?
Yeah.
The a convert is because of a girl or their wives that they're usually converted. It's very normal. It happens.
You get lured in, It's like fishing.
Yeah. And what attracted you to the religion at the beginning besides your girlfriend?
Well, I don't know what was going on in my life. My aunt was a nun. My dad hated religion. My mom side of the family liked it. And uh I didn't mind. I wasn't afraid of it. The girl I had before that was a Mormon, and I went to her church a couple of times, and I didn't like it. I thought, these guys are all picking fruit for the Mormon bishop, and he lives in a very rich home, and he drives a Ferrari. So I said to my Mormon girlfriend, I said, "That's I'm not going to go to your church no more. They're using you." So I thought the Jehovah's Witnesses were quite different. And I was actually attracted to their moral standards. That was one of the things that attracted me to the religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And around what time did you join the religion? Was it in the like what year?
Well, that was in 1981. I started 1982.
Okay, okay.
Grad
So
81, graduated,
after,
so I was right
so you
there.
did well. You didn't get to see the 1975 disappointment. That
No, I missed all that.
you missed out the fun.
Yeah, and then once you get in, they make you really afraid of Penton and Raymond Franz. Those are kind of evil words. I never heard about
But
that, but we heard about Penton. You remember Penton and
yeah,
Lethbridge and
James
Elbert?
Penton, the historian.
So he's a historian. He just wanted to send his kid to university, and he had to leave the religion. But they made him out to be a real bandit. When I was started, I was just young. So
Okay. And back then it was way harder to gain information as
no,
it is today that we have the internet.
yeah, yeah. Today it would be easy to look. If someone knocked on my door, I'd be looking on the internet, right? And I'd be asking a lot of questions right out the gate. But it's a different world today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. And how long did it take you to get baptized after meeting your girlfriend?
Well, I moved from congregation to congregation. I was working for a company who's now called GE, and I was in the fire alarm business, testing fire alarms. I was a service tech, a young one. And they sent me to all the rural areas, so I hardly made meetings. And then they transferred me from one city to another. And but the witnesses kept track. I studied here, I studied there, I studied there, and finally I moved to this town called Red Deer, Central Alberta, and that's where I set down roots. I stayed there for at least 10 years. Had 2 kids, got married into the religion there. I did not marry the girl that lured me in. I married someone
Okay,
else.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
All right.
And
And go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. Yeah.
So how was that experience of being a Jehovah's Witness back in the 80s?
Um we didn't know the governing body. We didn't know who they were. It just seemed like you're studying the Bible, little hick town, Red Deer, little communities. I did a lot of country territory. And I found out my ex-wife, who I married in, she didn't like the ministry. She was she was raised in it. I thought she would have liked it a lot more, but it turned out all the way through her life she didn't. And I thought, well, everyone must like this stuff because I didn't find it bad, but I used a lot of it. I got into my own business eventually, in my own fire alarm business. So I used a lot of the skill sets at a young age. Door to door, you become afraid of nothing. Door to door ministry is the worst, right?
Yeah, it is.
So
It's nerve-wracking.
if you can make door to door ministry, you can be a salesman and sell refrigerators to an Eskimo,
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, but
Yeah.
it's amazing that yeah, a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses don't actually like the ministry, but they're not gonna be very vocal about it because it's, you're supposed to like the ministry. It's what Jehovah's
I was
Witnesses do.
surprised that a lot of people faked it. And masks, everyone wears a mask when you're a JW. Well, I figured out, and typically we have 3 masks, but there's that at-home mask. So I figured out early on in life the at-home mask of my ex, who was raised as a JW, was a lot different than my mask. And once you're married, you're kind of married, right? That's it. So yeah, that way we won't talk about that. That's hopefully some of these people will wake up. But it was
Yeah.
a rough road, man. I had a rough road, rough 28 years of marriage. If you know who the guy Jose is, I won't say anymore. That's it. That's all I can
No,
tell you.
yeah,
I
no,
wouldn't
it's
even say
okay.
that on my own channel.
No, it's okay, man.
Yeah,
All right. Well, so how long did you remain a Jehovah's Witness for?
30 years.
30 years. Damn, it's
2012, I left.
in 2012. Okay.
Yeah. You know that
Uh,
picture on the front you put on the thumbnail, that picture that my wife sent, good wife sent you?
mhm.
It's an airplane. I look quite a bit different, right? In that picture.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No
I
beard.
was I was ready to die just before a heart attack. And so I got off that plane. I was up the elders. This is 2012, 30 years later. Eventually, I had my own business, always being a good JW, trying to strive to do more, go on quick builds. I used to do a lot of fire alarm work all over for free for them. And
Damn.
I used to get these gigs overseas, but I only got them. My family wasn't really in good standing, but we get them because I donate the equipment, right? So there was a 2-tiered thing there. It's just, you see it all when you get out. You don't really see it when you're in there, and we all know that. You're all
Yeah.
blind. We're all in a trance, right? I
Yeah.
call it the Rutherford trance.
Yeah.
So
That's a very fitting name. So they were using you for free labor for installing fire
oh,
alarms.
I'd hate to put a number out there, but there's a lot of money that went into stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I always thought, Jehovah, everything I have is from Jehovah. So Jehovah, Jehovah, Jehovah. So if Jehovah gives me everything I have, why can't I give that all away, back to Jehovah? And you see, that's the mentality or the thinking that we're trying to help people realize that's not true. This is all cult designed to get our money, right? We all leave the cult broke,
Yeah. That's for sure.
we retire broke, all of us, if we're in that cult. So people
Yeah.
work all their life in Bethels and they get the boot with
Yeah,
nothing.
that's gotta be even more rough. Just
Mm-hmm.
nothing to get back up on.
Yeah.
And I wanted to highlight this comment from Jay. Thank you, Jay. In the 80s and 90s, it was a different religion. So besides not being aware of the governing body's existence, or at least to a superficial level, how would you say the religion has changed since you were in it back in the 80s?
How has it changed? It's the big thing is the governing body. Put aside that, the governing body today are idols. Back then, I didn't even know their names. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of turning back on the 70s. Yeah, a lot of apostates. There was a lot of slashing out because of apostates, just like today. It really hasn't changed, the way they're worse today, actually, because of the internet. They're 10,000 times worse because they get on and the governing body gets on and everyone looks at them as gods. It's really a different religion. This is a religion of Babylon. These are all the people in Babylon are bowing down to the governing body. And the only ones that are getting thrown in the fiery furnaces are us, you, me, all the people online there that walked away today. And congratulations, everyone, for walking away, because you are the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's of today. We're the ones that are thrown in the fiery furnace, shunned. That's what we're fighting against, anyways.
Yeah, that's super true. And this comment says that he imagines that the governing body were spiritual people praying all the time and God speaking to them. Then you get Stephen lit. It really does open your eyes once you see the governing body, right?
Oh, it's you've done a really good job of showing their true colors, capturing their essence. All
It's
of
kind
them,
of
you
hard.
know.
Yeah, they're just walking memes. It's not hard to show how ridiculous they are, I think.
How can you be a self-appointed king prior to dying? Like I thought you got to die, go to be judged, go to heaven, and then get appointed king if you're counted worthy. But here these guys are proclaiming to the world through Gary that
Yeah,
they're kings. That's
I
just
did.
ludicrous.
Yeah, I
I,
did see that. It seems that they're amping up their worship of the governing body. To year after year, it gets more severe for sure.
yeah, I think it's it's a different religion to answer Jay's question for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you spent 30 years in this religion. Uh, what privileges did you have in the congregation?
I was always used on mics very early on in the religion. Prior to getting married, like I was baptized a year later, I got disfellowship for 6 months. And that's
Mhm.
when I got married. I got married outside of the religion. And so that's just the way that went. I was going to quit at the time. I thought it was all nonsense. I was just married, young bride, raised in the religion, but her dad wasn't in it. And they had family issues, I don't want to get into. But she cried and cried and cried. We're going to die at Armageddon. And I didn't really believe in all that crap anyways. And so I went back and I said, well, if I'm going to go back, I'm going to do something about it. So I became an auxiliary pioneer. You get your privileges back in a year. And I auxiliary pioneer. That was a lot of years ago. And then we raised a family at auxiliary pioneer every so often. In them days, it was 60 hours a month. You try to associate with ministerial servants and elders, but my advice to everyone is don't do that because I thought they were all good, but they aren't. Cost me lots of problems, lots of Hosea problems. And then, so anyways, then I got to clear my throat here, getting all choked
Yeah,
up.
it's okay.
Just kidding. Should have went for a jog. Okay, so then what did I do? I was in this religion halfway through it, halfway through the 30 years. Kids are getting older. Kids start getting into little mischiefs, and you're always working for your privileges as a head of the house. Can't get so you come home and you whip your kids into shape. Come on, you guys, you got to get out in service. You try to push the family, and that's why we know now as we're awoken that this isn't good. This is not good for the family. It's hard on the kids. It's brain damage, in fact, to the kids. So I was part of it. I was in the trance. I understand that. So my job now, I feel, my penance
Mhm.
is this is all unassigned territory to me, and it's to do what we're doing. Pay it forward. Help
Yeah.
others to wake up. But yeah, go ahead there. I talk too much.
No, it's okay. So what was it that made you start doubting in the religion?
Yeah, okay, I don't know how to put this. We'll keep this quiet, but when you come home and find an elder in your bed, you start questioning bodies of elders. And I moved to 7 congregations. Every congregation had issues, every one in the elder body level. So I started looking at elder bodies as Pharisees back when I was in my 30s. And I'd have chats with people would talk to me. And the consensus was, well, it's the closest thing to the truth that we know. Until something closer comes along, this is it. And that's kind of what everyone goes with, right? I think that's probably the game they're playing right now. Probably that's what they played back then. So you got all these problems. You're young, no family counseling. That's what was required. the elders that were having issues, they needed to go to AA. They needed to get alcohol treatment. These elders and ministerial servants, seriously. I don't want to go on about it, but there is huge alcohol problems everywhere I went. And so obviously there's problems. These elders are doing work that family counselors that are trained should be doing. These elders are not mentally equipped to take that 300-page elder book and dissect and judge the congregation with it. It's just, they fall apart. I've seen it, being around these elders. So my job, I think, now is to share that, just like we're doing right now. So
yeah, so you saw the hypocrisy firsthand, as you mentioned, that these people had like a face mask on, but deep down they were just, flawed, regular people, and
needing help,
that's it.
a lot of them.
Needing counseling for sure. And
go ahead.
what do you think alcoholism was such a problem up there in Canada? Or
everywhere I went, alcohol. They drink one glass of wine leads to 3 glasses, and then the bottle's done, right? I went up to one congregation there. They're all rolling swish barrels around, all of them, everyone in there. You know what a swish barrel is?
No.
It's an old whiskey keg. It's a whiskey keg, great big 40-gallon keg that they'd brew scotch and stuff in. And it'd have that woody flavor. So they'd be empty, and you could buy them off the breweries. So these elders would be driving a trailer down to southern Alberta, buying a trailer full of these kegs, and they made a little bit of a business on it, and they'd sell these they'd make $20 a barrel, buy them for 40, sell them for 60. And so I bought a couple swish barrels. You throw so many gallons of water in there, and you swish it around on your lawn for a week or two, and you pour that out, and you got like half strength whiskey. So these guys are all just drinking and you'd bottle up about 20 bottles of this stuff, and these guys are all just drunk.
They were just going hard. They were upholding Rutherford's legacy.
I remember I was just proved a ministerial servant up at this little congregation in northern Alberta. And I was a ministerial servant, and things seemed to be going good. That was when we were riding the wave, and you were at the top of the wave. No one's gotten into trouble for a lot of years. Ministerial servant, everyone's going out in service. Small congregation, everyone's playing cards with each other. Lots going on, swishing, lots of wine, whiskey. I started ministerial servant there in an auxiliary pioneering. I was running my own little security business. So I was able to swing it. And I was using Anthony Robbins stuff for my public talks. They threw me into public talks. And I took a look at these outlines. I'm already a skeptical, critical thinker, right? I troubleshoot fire alarms. I always have to be critically thinking. That's my excuse. So they give me this outline that's, it's just one page, right? And you'd have to make a public talk out of that. So I'd always throw stuff in. They didn't like that. I found out. You got to stick to the society.
Oh,
and then the elder thing I mentioned, that all happens, and then everything falls apart. You're no longer a ministerial servant. Next thing you know, you're smoking. I went and bought a pack of smokes. I used to smoke when I was 18, right? So I went and bought, all that happened. I went down, bought a pack of smokes. I had to de-stress. I went and sat by the lake and smoked. Started smoking, and I got caught. And then I get hauled back into an elders meeting, and they say, well, we're just going to privately reprove you. We don't want to have both parents disfellowshipped. And what are your kids going to do? We got to keep you so you can keep your kids going, because I would have quit. I walked in with my t-shirt, and I said, I want out of this religion. I'm done with it. And they wouldn't disfellowship me. That's just what happened. So that was, I was about 35, 36, and I'm 60 now, right? So when I left, I was 49 years old. So eventually I moved, and Bethel sent out a letter for unassigned territory up in the high Arctic. So I said to the brothers, I said, anybody want to go? No. You want to go? No. You want to go? No. No one wanted to go because it's $3,000 to fly up there, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll pay for the plane tickets. I had a lot of air miles through my business, so I paid for all the plane tickets. And we got up there. Rooms were like $300. So we split a room. This brother, elder, he signed it out. So we did all these unassigned territories, and lots of people wanted to study. So we came back. I set up a 1-800 line so people could call in and hook up to meetings and stuff, study. The elders in this little congregation I was in, they were really jealous. So that's the bottom line. So they shut it all down. Yeah, we came back like pioneering. The other elder that I got, I couldn't get anybody locally. So this other elder from another city signed it out and came up with me. So I did this for 7 years under the JW umbrella. And then at the end, the last 2 years of the 7 years of that, the kids were having difficulties. So they just fellowshipped one of the kids. And of course, I lost all my privileges. And then they said, you can't preach up north. And I said, what? You can't preach up north? You're going to stop me from preaching. I never did anything wrong, but I'm the family head. But you're going to stop me from preaching? Okay, can I preach locally? Oh, yeah. You can preach locally. Why can't I preach up north? Well, because that's a privilege. You can't have privileges. I said, you got to be kidding me. Because by that time, 7 years, I established work contracts in all these little communities, testing fire alarms. We'd do it really cheap, and brothers would come up and help, and we'd go out in the service. It was a good gig. It worked good. We'd go up every year, 2 weeks, and it was fun. We'd go fishing. You didn't have to wear suits and ties when you went up north. You could just blend in with the locals, right? You made your own rules. You were allowed to. It's unassigned territory. So we had a lot of fun, met a lot of people. Everyone was afraid down south. And at the end, they said, no, you can't preach. So I went up that year without preaching. I said to Jehovah, I said, well, I think I used the swear word, but I said to Jehovah, I'm done with this. I'm done with these pharisaical elders of yours. And I'm not going back. And then the next year, my phone rang off the hook. I had more work, double or triple the workload. And they begged me to come up. People were phoning from different cities, different towns up there. So I said, okay, Jehovah, I'll go up. And so I pulled 2 brothers up. I couldn't preach, right? So I didn't preach. I listened to the rules. Well, these brothers were from other congregations, and they could sign the territories out. So they went up. They did the preaching. We did the work. I did the work. And came back. And I still didn't have privileges. And then they deleted me of everything. They wanted to really humble me. And so I said to Jehovah, well, I quit. I'm quitting. I'm quitting this religion. And then the phone rings off the hook and all this work comes in. And I said, shit, I want to quit this all. And so then I phoned the territory desk, Bethel. I said to the guy there, the brother there, I said, I'm not doing this. I lost, I gave him the whole lowdown. And he said, hey, my wife and I have holidays. If you can get us up there, we'll sign it out. You just do it secretly. So I did. Flew them out from Toronto. We flew them up. We did all the work, and they were terrific workers. His wife was a photography for Bethel, maybe, I don't know. They sent me a little book privately, and I've been debating whether I should show any of this online. It's a beautiful of what we did.
Yeah.
So we're up there, and he says to me, this young brother, he's running the service desk for the unassigned territories. He says, you know what? He says, I've been up all night looking through the Bible. There's nothing that stops you from preaching. No one on this earth can stop you from preaching. No one. And I said, really? He says, it's a command to preach. Let alone if you can preach down south, you can preach up north. And he says, don't even worry about signing territories out. He says, we can't get brothers. We can't pay brothers to fly up here. He says, just don't tell anybody. Just do the territories, work it, phone me, let me know that it's done. I'll make a note here. We won't even do it. And he and I said, well, I said, it's three brothers. It's a body. The elders are on the right hand of Jesus. They're sitting there. That's what we're taught, right? You
Mhm.
believe that crap, right? We did. We believed that stuff. So I said, well, I'm not going to preach. I was allowed to do my return visits, right? So they did all the preaching. I did the work. They helped me with the work, but they did not do door-to-door work, this couple. Do you know what we did? They said, let's go to the drum dances. None of the other JWs went to the drum dances. The spiritual week. It was spiritual week in this one community, Delany. And I wrote books about this after I was done. It was just, and I kept going back up for 7 more years on my own, not as a JW, just as an Indigenous. Like, I have a little bit of Indigenous. So I just go up as a white Indigenous Métis, doing the work. And I go to all the drum dances and I partook of all that after. But I got ahead. When I flew back to Edmonton, that picture I sent you, that was standing in front of the plane. We got back, and I decided on that. And then the Bethel couple flew right back to Bethel. Their holidays were done. So I decided, I'm done. I'm done with the religion. I wasn't done with Jehovah. I didn't know. I didn't clean my mind out. But I was done with this Kingdom Hall stuff and these elders. So I came back. I put my house up for sale, and it sold within 1 week. I moved up to 3 hours away, north of Edmonton, where my folks lived. My dad was on dialysis. I went and stayed out at the farm. I went through a divorce at the same time. And yeah, I never went back. Never went back. History. And then 8 years later, I meet some elder in a grocery store, and he gives me a hug. It was just around the virus. And I had a connection. I kept going up north because that was the only, I had to sell my company when I went through the divorce. Everything got sold. The only work I was allowed to do, I had a 5-year non-compete. I was only allowed to work in the Northern Arctic. So I kept going back up north for work. And I really got to know the Indigenous people well. And I learned some fabulous things. And I share them in some of my stories. But yeah, it was a great experience. Now, 8 years later, met the elder. He would have given me a hug if it wasn't the virus, but so we kept in touch, text message. He actually showed up at my gate. My gate was closed. We live out in the country, and he phoned me, and I said, no, you got to phone, make an appointment if you're going to come in for coffee. I'm not going to have anybody just show up. And you see, Shauna didn't really know a lot about the JWs. I was keeping this all secret, kind of. So yeah. I didn't want to talk about my past too much, because I got remarried, and we would refer to the universe, the universe this, universe that. We wouldn't really, I quit assigning God a name. I quit doing that. And I started looking into spirituality. It's something different. But it's kind of the same. Something different, but kind of the same. So I did that, and then I met that elder, and I said to the elder, there's a guy up north that wants to study. You see, I was still in my head. And I said, he wants to study. Do you want to study with him? Because I said, I've been out, and I don't want to really get into it anymore. He said, sure. So he started studying with my friend up north, and in 3 months, my friend demonized me, phoned me up and said, yep, you're demonized, man. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. And I said, really? He said, yeah, it says it in the Bible. They showed me it. The JW showed me this. So you don't know.
Yeah.
That bothered. That led me to be an apostate. That's what led me here, because I couldn't let it go. I couldn't go to God and say, God, what did I do wrong here? I didn't do anything wrong here. Why am I getting beat up? Why are they apostatizing me or demonizing me? That's how they do it, right? And so then eventually Shauna says, you gotta just write a journal, start working this stuff out. So I started writing, and then that led to the channel, and then it led to getting to know the community, and then it led to where we're at today. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, what a wonderful story. I'm surprised you withstood so these abuses, and just the fact that they didn't let you go north to preach is I can't even conceive of it. That's
well, they didn't stop me because I had work up there, right? They said, you can go do your work, you just can't preach.
Yeah, the audacity to say that.
Like I said to him, I got the work. I said, Jehovah gave me the work to preach. Can't you guys see that? Like I didn't have the work prior to going up there. I went up there on my own dime and then handed out business cards and then got the work. And then I went back year after year because with fire alarm testing, it's a yearly thing. You got to go back every year.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect gig to do these unassigned territories. And it paid the money. It paid the hotels, the airfare, everything for a couple guys. But they threw a monkey wrench into that one. But a good thing, because I don't think, you see, when I look at my journey in life, I needed to go through that religion to be where I'm at now, to go across Canada, to meet with Parliament, to put a petition out. We have over 1,000. So now we can take this to the MP. We can get this in. They're going to be on holidays here, but this fall, we're going across Canada. We're going to make some moves here, and hopefully we're going to be seen. And we plan on doing what's done in Norway here in Canada. That's our goal.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so because more and more governments are taking notice of the harmful policies of the religion, and I think Canada has a much better chance at noticing than your
Mhm.
neighbors here in the U.S.
Well, the Canada, the British country, the UK, they're Stitchen, all these places, Norway, these are all European kind of countries, Australia, New Zealand, these are all countries like Canada, the Commonwealth, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah,
So Canada should do something, I'm hoping. Or Watchtower is going to have to pull out these changes a little quicker. There's only 3 things they got to really do.
yeah, that's true. It's not. It's
They're
they
already
shoot
making a lot of
themselves.
changes.
Yeah, they ultimately they're the ones shooting themselves in the foot because
Yeah.
as we've seen many times before, it only takes one governing body update to sway what
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses are gonna do. So all they have to do
Yeah.
is announce, "Hey, you don't actually have to shun, or
No.
you don't actually have to die for blood."
Yeah. The way I see it, if they can make these changes in 6 months, what they've done right now, within the next couple of years, they can do it. But it's going to take pressure, right? You and I, we keep the pressure on. All the other apostates keep the pressure on. All over the world, keep the pressure on. So we all keep the pressure on. What happens? They have to make changes. Clean. I hate to use the analogy of, but anyways, they have to make changes in the organization. So our pressure is going to do it. If we let the pressure off, they're not going to make the changes. People are going to suffer. People are going to keep dying over that blood doctrine. People are going to keep going to prison in Russia and these countries when they don't have to.
Yeah,
So they
that's
need to
very
make
true.
these changes. People are dying, and that's children are abused. Children, and then all of the apologies that have to happen, all those apologies, all the payouts. I don't know if they can afford to turn their lights on after they make all the payouts out, to be quite honest, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. It will
Yeah.
take some time, but I'm excited to see how
Yeah. We're
religion
living
is
in an
not
exciting
doing good.
time, I think, you
Yeah,
and me.
yeah, we are. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite a privilege to see the religion fall in real time.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is. So, and to
yeah,
report.
yeah, for sure, and just make fun of all the incompetent leaders, which I still can't believe they're on
Yeah.
top. But all right,
We're
thanks
doing
for
good on time.
sharing. Yeah, thanks for sharing your waking up story, and we're gonna let viewers ask any questions. So I'm gonna drop here. Let's see, ask any questions. So tell us, after leaving the religion, how has your faith evolved, or where do you stand on right now? Are you still a Christian? Are you spiritual? Could you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit of that?
Well, those are, those are I think all the ex-JWs struggle in this department. When we were JWs, we knew that all these religions were kind of part of Babylon. That's what we knew, right? Then you get out, you wake up, and then you realize, holy smokes, the JW org is part of Babylon too. If you view that any of that, and then you start looking a little further, and waking up is progressive. You can't do this if you try to do this in 1 week, you're going to get angry with yourself, because when we stretch our brains too hard, it hurts. We have to do it
Yeah.
slowly. So I started looking at the authenticity of the Bible itself. I started looking at a God. Are Jesus and Jehovah really? Do they seem like they're from the same mold? No, they don't. One guy's about love, the other God's about discipline, works. Kind of like with the Jehovah. The Jehovah's Witness really lives up to the name Jehovah, because that's what Jehovah's about, right? So I struggle with that when I talk about the Bible. Then I dig a little deeper, and now there's a lot of work that's happening with uncovering the creation account, the Elohim, the gods that created things, that there was a number of gods. And then there's different scriptures that allude to the fact that there's a pantheon. In fact, the Jehovah is actually a god that was one of the gods given to the Hebrews, and that there's other gods out there on the earth that had probably looked after other nations. That's probably why there's other Bibles. So when I start looking at it like that, kind of blending a little bit of the history into it, and not that I don't think any of these books are holy, and I'm certainly not going to go with the fact that if you're Christian and you have the Bible, that you're better than a Muslim or any other race on earth. I don't agree with that at all. In fact, what I look for is commonality. And when I look at the Christian book, look at Jesus, if he's going to be the preceptor I choose to follow, he's about love, simply about love your neighbor. And then let's look at that. We don't see that happening on the earth, love your neighbor, between countries, between religions. We don't see that. So I don't know. Maybe it is a small road, narrow. I'm not sure. But it is a journey, and I feel like we're all in this vessel. We're all in this body. We all have different bodies, different abilities, and we're on this journey. It's a spiritual journey for sure. You can feel it. I felt it so many times in my life. It's like when I said to Jehovah, I'm done up north. The phone quit ringing. I was using his name Jehovah back then, but now I've changed that. I come from the standpoint, well, maybe Jesus Father. Jesus never used Jehovah. Although JW Bible likes to make it look like that, but you and I know that's not true.
Yeah.
So Jesus called his Father the Father. Well, I kind of like the fact that the universe, we've been doing that for 10 years, the universe. There's something out there. It's energy. I'm not sure. I think I'd be very, very narrowing myself down spiritually to say that I'm Christian. That's all I am. I don't profess to follow any of the Christian faiths, and I never will, because there's a lot that, to me, goes against Jesus in the Christian faith. Like, why would this Christian faith, Constantine put crosses on all the shields, so all of a sudden they're righteous and they win all the wars? It's just more of an ego trip, right? But you look at all this history, you wake up and you realize, okay, let's stand back. The Bible has some history into it. We can't take it literal. It won't make sense to us. There's a lot of stories, metaphors. Jesus used, if Jesus is the real guy, there's a lot of metaphors that are really cool. I like that Jesus used. So I use them on the channel. And I'm speaking to XJWs mostly, so they're familiar with them. And I found that if you're going to wake me up, it's the scriptures. The scriptures have to wake me up. Wake me up out of the scriptures. Show me that the faithful slave claiming this is something is false. Yeah, that's an easy one. Or how they usurp the word truth, although they're trying to put that back to Jesus as summer at their assembly. It's interesting. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, I think there is value in using the Bible to deconstruct the JW faith, and it is more effective on some people, but that's good. It's good to, I think it's a very balanced view to see, to acknowledge that there's still good lessons to be learned in the Bible and Jesus account, but we have to be skeptical, like with everything, to not take things completely literally.
Yeah. Well, I know JW Org doesn't like to push spirituality is individuality. They don't like that, but it really is. spirituality, we find spirituality in different ways. And if we explore enough cultures, enough life on earth, we're going to find that many people over a vast array of cultures and religions and peoples find spirituality in different ways. And it's kind of the same. They're all finding love. They're all finding how to deal with the community, family. Up in the Northern Arctic, they called it the 13 rules of life. Kind of like the 10 commandments, but a way, way better. And I put that in one of the books, but the 13 rules of life, it's just it. It's all on one page. And that's all you need. It's just how to live life and how to be a good person, how to understand life a bit. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
But the
And
Bible makes it complicated.
yeah, it's true. So would you say that your contact with the First Nations has really influenced your view on these matters?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's helped me to widen out, helped me to stretch my mind, helped me to find that there's spirituality all over the place. They do things up there like pay the lake. You ever heard of pay the lake?
No, I haven't.
Have you? You heard of that?
No, I don't. No, I don't think so.
No. So the indigenous people up here, there's a great big lake. It's called the Great Bear Lake. It's the 7th largest freshwater lake in the world. Great Bear Lake, very clean, pristine clean. You can just dip your cup in. You got to go 6 inches down.
Mm-hmm.
You pull the water out, and it's fresh. It's clean. It's 300. It's deep lake, 1,000 feet deep in the middle. So, anyways, up there they pay the lake. They have the pay the lake, pay the land, pay the lake. It's a ritual. So, and it works actually. I was blown away. Nothing mystic. So I started studying energy because of this. But you get out on the lake. They kind of play with us Southerners a bit. You get out on the lake and you're fishing and fishing and fishing, and you don't move the boat, right? And there's the older lady there and the guy running the boat, and not catching a thing. And the lady says to the guy, "Hey, the lake, hey, the lake." And he's kind of sitting there laughing, and he might have his beer or something too, just enjoying the sunset. And so finally he takes his tobacco out, and they put the tobacco in, and they kind of say a little bit of a thing inside, a thank you. They're giving gratitude to the lake. Thank you to the lake. It's just gratitude. That's all it is. And they believe it. And so then he's done, and it doesn't take long, a couple, a minute maybe. And the lady's, okay, you can fish now. You cast it, you're pulling in a fish. We pulled in like 12, 15 fish within 10 minutes.
Wow.
It's fast. Every cast, you pull a fish in. So the old lady said, stop. And she looks in the boat. She kept all the big ones, all the 12, 14 pounders, threw out the other ones. And we went back with 7 fish. 7 big fish is a lot of fish, right? We go back with that. She does them up really. It's like a ballerina on the shore, how she does them. Cooked us up a shore fish. They sent fish to the elders. There were so many fish out of 7 fish. And blew my mind. I blew my mind. So I started studying it. I wrote books on this. They have what I call the lost language. It's the language of few words. They speak through eye movements, through facial expressions, things like that. So I wrote about that. But it was an interesting journey. When you write about things like that and JWs get wind of it, they demonize you. You get demonized for
Because
same old.
they can't conceive of the notion that a so-called pagan religion could have any wisdom in it, when in reality it does have a lot of wisdom.
They do the same with caribou, 7 catch caribou. It's just how the communities work up there. And in fact, they go around the lake, and in ancient times, we had 7 villages around the lake, and they live in each village for 7 years. And then they said the land and area needs to heal. It's a big lake. You look across it, it's like an ocean, right? Can't see the other sides. But they work their way around the lake, 7 villages, and then they get back to the destination. They call it Delaney. It's where the one river flows into the Great Mackenzie that flows out to the Baltic Sea, if you were to look at a map. I'm going to do a video on all this. It was a amazing journey, part of my life. Amazing.
Yeah, that's very profound. I appreciate you sharing that, because each one of us has a different impact. My experience was with Thailand, seeing
Oh
people
yeah.
in Thailand. So, but yours was in Canada. So it just goes to show that everyone has their own
Mhm.
waking up moments that contribute to being less dogmatic and more open minded.
Have you talked about your journey in Thailand? We've got 9
Oh
minutes.
no, no. Well, I haven't told my waking up story, but yeah. Long story short, I did go on a neat grading trip to Thailand back when I was
Mm.
19. It was
Wow.
in yeah, it was in Phuket, this small island in the south,
Mhm.
and I didn't know any Thai, but it was just giving tracts to people.
Mhm.
But yeah, this was me really realizing that there's countries that have nothing to do with Christianity, and Thailand is one of
Mhm.
them. And it just blew my mind how Buddhist people were able to be very kind and very
Mhm.
hospitable without the notion of Jesus at all.
Mhm.
It definitely shook me.
Well, one thing I think I really like about your channel, I want to mention before I go, is you have a
Mhm.
very kind demeanor. A very kind demeanor. You do. But you have a
Thank you.
very sharp and witty sense of humor. It's just
Yeah,
it's just fabulous. And you see it out in your videos and you see it in how you talk and you care about people. And that's I think what's real cool about this whole journey.
yeah. My life experiences have helped me to be more empathetic and less judgmental.
Mhm.
But it's
Mhm.
just, man, I'm super grateful. I had a very good upbringing, and ultimately, I'm grateful for the experience because now I get to know what it feels like to be both indoctrinated and to be free, and that's something
Yeah.
that it has to be experienced. It cannot be
Mm.
described.
No. And it truly I know when I came out, started to wake up and I was watching different videos and you would hear other religions break down the JWs, but it meant more when I heard an ex-JW break down the religion because they really understood it. For
Yeah,
someone on the outside to break it down, they can see it, but they never lived it. And you lived something different than I did. You were raised in it, right? You grew up as a baby in it.
yeah, yeah. It
You
was
see, I came in at 18, so I will never know what you know.
yeah.
So we
It's
both
a
have different
different.
perspectives.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's why
Mhm.
it's so good to communicate and give a
Yeah.
platform to people. Because man, I've had like now 3 people here on the channel. Well, 3 XGWs, and everyone has a very different story and how they
Mhm.
got up.
Well, listen, keep us in mind. You're more than welcome to come on our channel and tell your story
Yeah, for
when you're
sure.
ready.
We'll make it happen one day. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be. Um, I did show up in Elisa Greenfield's channel. If anyone wants to go
Mhm.
watch that, she's an ex-Mormon. She had me on,
Mhm.
but yeah, we'll be. I'll be reaching out to more people for sure. Thank you for the invite. We'll make it happen one day for
One
sure.
of our Discord members put that on our Discord channel. That's how I seen it.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
your Mormon interview was on the Discord channel. So we do have a Discord server. I think you do too, don't you? Discord.
Not yet, but
Okay.
I may have to start one because I've gotten several requests to start one.
We're running on ours. It's an XJW friends Discord. We're in there as a creator. There's a bunch of other creators in there that have channels. You can go in and have a channel, and then you don't have to manage anything. My good
Okay.
wife manages it all. She does a lot of work there. But anyways, yeah, check it out.
She's
It's
yeah, she's doing a lot of work behind the scenes.
yeah.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah.
Cool, man.
Okay.
Well, can you tell us your channel again so people can go visit you?
Fixing my faith. Just plug in fixing my faith.
Yeah, and I included a link down below if anyone wants to go check out Vern's videos. They're really cool, and yeah, you're making more edits now, huh? More memes. It's it's
Yeah,
very easy
it's
to make memes to the governing body.
it is. I'll never be as good as you guys, but for an old guy, I'm getting by.
Nah, it's just practice, man. But okay, one final question for you. Who's
Yes.
who's your favorite governing body member, Vern?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would have to say, like you can't beat Stephen Lett's face. Like, so it'd have to be Stephen Lett.
Everyone answers that.
He's just got the goofiest face.
Yeah.
He gives us the most
And
fun, right? Anthony Morris was fun, but Stephen Lett's fun.
he is fun. I wouldn't mind having him on the channel. He could tell us like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hello
That'd be,
everyone. Well, you'll be destroyed real soon."
yeah,
Yeah,
you just don't know, eh?
he's a natural. But and the crazy things he says is, oh man, you just can't make this up.
Stephen Lett. I like how David Splain spanks the apostates and um Loesch, what's his name? Jared Loesch. He
Yeah.
seems to be the levelist out of all of them. I don't
Hmm.
know. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but those are the three old guys, right? That kind of run the show. Lett, Splain, and Loesch, pretty much.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Damn. I don't know. I mean, I've heard rumors that Mark Sanderson is behind it. Who the fuck knows by this
He's a
point?
young guy. You really think he is? I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah. Maybe
Maybe,
he put the beard chain because he wanted a beard himself.
maybe. I don't
Who
know.
knows?
We
We'll
can just,
find out one day.
it'll come out.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're waking up or are they just running a business or woken up or are they under the trance?
Maybe they woke up 10 years ago and they're just in it for the shits and giggles. They like it.
The power trip, eh? Narcissists don't see the same way as us, the average person, sees. A narcissist at that level sees and looks at the world in a way different way. They actually believe their own BS. They're in it and they actually believe it. They're under the trance, heavily under the trance, but they believe that even though the governments are forcing them to make changes, they believe that this is Jehovah giving them new light somehow through the governments. But they don't want to really say that.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
that's
That's my
true.
supposition.
Yeah, the cognitive dissonance runs deep. Just imagine the quantity of it and running in their heads. It's
I think they
incredible.
believe their own stuff.
Yeah, I believe it too. I wouldn't put it past them. They're
And they
delusional.
call it theocratic warfare to lie. It's okay to lie in court. They've actually convinced their own selves that it's okay to lie, to stretch the truth, to twist it, to do all of these things. It's okay to make changes in that Bible because they have the truth. They are the truth. They actually believe that. And I think when they crash, it's going to be a hard crash.
Yeah, I mean they are the kings of
Yeah,
our kings.
they're the kings. They believe they are. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah,
I feel sorry for them.
they're crazy. But hey, Stephen Laird and David Plain, I hope you're watching this because I love you guys. Thanks for all the precious
They,
content that you've given us.
well, if any of the governing body want to come on Thursday night or May 9th, we have face to face. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah, all right. The invitation is out. Like,
That's right.
any of them, you would
Any of them.
be happy with any of them, even the lamest one.
Even a worker, even a troll. The trolls are all welcome. Everyone.
That sounds perfect. All right. Anything else you
Okay.
want to say for the channel, Vern? Thank you so much for joining
No,
me.
this is great. This is a great collaboration. Thank you very much for having me on. I look forward to getting to know you further as time goes on.
Yeah, for sure. We'll keep in touch. And once
Sure.
again, guys, go check out Vern's channel. I put a link in the description below so you can check it out. And thanks for sharing your story with us. It was super fun. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
All right.
everyone out there, for being on today. And I got to run. I got another show to do. Joe
Oh
and
yeah. All
Fran.
right.
Okay.
We'll see you then.
See you
Goodbye.
later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.